Hello and welcome. This is Playing Favorites. I'm Paul.
I'm Justin.
Hello, Justin. How are you?
I am wonderful. I am great. How are you?
I'm doing really well as well. Really well as well.
You ready to
So
go down memory lane?
I sure am. There are a lot of memories out in the 90s, and so much of our childhood, I feel like, is in these first 5 years in
Yeah.
particular.
This is why I got this background. If you go to our YouTube channel, you can see this is actually the theater that was in our hometown.
Yep.
Uptown Theater. It was
Great
closer to you.
theater.
You probably went to it more than I did, but I was bring back some memories there.
But that's how good of a place it was. It was, everybody, North, South, East, West Uticans, they all knew the
Yeah.
Uptown Theater.
And everyone wanted to buy it because it's always for sale.
Yep. So if you wanna see that background and other videos of ours and things we've been working on, you can check out our YouTube page at youtube.com/@playingfavoritspodcast. It's a little bit easier to find us too, right? Just
Yeah.
youtube.com/@playingfavoritspodcast.
Thanks, YouTube, for making it easier.
Yes. We appreciate it.
But
So
but if you
we haven't
haven't,
even said what we're gonna do
I
today
I
yet,
know,
Justin.
I know. We have a theater behind me. So what's that about? What's that? Why do I have a theater behind me?
Why don't you tell the people at home, Justin, what are we covering today?
So we've done this in the past, and I wanted to bring
Mhm,
it. I think it's excited. I'm excited about this one because we've done. When it was 2020, we did our favorite movies of the decade,
mhm,
or the most recent decade. Then we did the 80s, but now we're going to get to do the 90s, part,
exactly.
the first half of the 90s, because we do these in two parts. So again, this is kind of a little unusual than our normal format for favorites. Usually we do like a surprise topic or something like that. But we're going to be covering a lot of years here. So we're going to be just digging through this and talking about it. But if you haven't been here before, typically what we do is we pick a topic, do a little research, and then we just talk about why something's our favorite.
Exactly. And Justin, we've been doing this for quite a while now, and I'm so excited to be having these kinds of conversations again. I know it's been a while since we've done a decades episode, as you were saying, but there are so many things to talk about, so I don't want to waste another second. Um,
Okay.
but before we, one last thing, just if besides our YouTube page, you should definitely check out our Twitter page for updates, as well as uh, anywhere
just
you get your podcasts.
Yes, you could just if you're listening to us now, you've already found us. But yeah, you could download the podcast audio, you could watch the video. We also do some streaming on the YouTube channel here and there too. We've done some movie reviews. Some of them we've actually might talk about today. Um
And just share it with people you know. You
yeah.
know, if
Yeah.
you know somebody who might dig what we're doing, just share it.
Enough
What's
of
the harm in a little share?
enough of that. I'd like to talk about 1990 with you, Paul.
Cue the music.
What is the
It's
music? That's
1990.
that's a later that's a later episode. The favorite episode to
Well,
music.
everything in the 90s is like nostalgia for the 1920s. So yeah, it should be like big band,
Or
swing music,
westerns. I've noticed a lot of westerns going
a lot
through
of
this too.
westerns
A
too.
lot of westerns. But yeah,
So you get the little
it's slowly
Clint
goes
Eastwood
away.
whistle.
Slowly goes away, but you know.
Sure. So 1990, could you tell us a little bit about the box office
So
in
yeah,
1990? What was
this
popular?
set the stage of 1990. So when we go through these here, so what we'll do is Paul will have a favorite, I'll have a favorite. Sometimes we'll share a favorite. Maybe we might throw in like kind of a side comment here and there. But we
For
like to give a
for your
setting. We have to set the stage of the box office for each year just to get kind of a visual. So I'll give out. I'm going to list from 1 to 10. So like the top, I'll go down the
okay.
list.
So we're gonna start with
S-
the top, the
Yeah,
best,
to top. So obviously, I think everyone knows
the
this, but
best.
Ghost with Patrick
Most.
Swayze and Demi Moore. Home Alone, Pretty Woman, Dances with Wolves, Total Recall, Back to the Future Part 3. We've talked about that before. Die Hard 2,
Trust me.
Presumed Innocent, which I have no memory of this movie, and
Nope.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Kindergarten Cop.
Quite the
The-
year of like nostalgia, like movies that have, franchises that people love and still love.
yeah,
And can we not call it Die Hard 2 I really liked it when everybody called it Die Harder.
Was that a thing?
Yeah, like, people would say, like, "Oh, it's Die Hard 2?" No, yeah, it's Die Harder. I don't know. I'm not the only one on this.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, you should call it by its real name, Die Harder. And the original Ninja Turtles movie's out in this year as well.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, it
Well,
was high grossing,
w
even
were
for that
any of
picture.
those top 10s your favorite movie?
No.
No.
Mm, let me see. Yep, no, not one of them is
Mm.
even one that I wrote down or wanted to mention in the year 19.
Wow, really? I'm
Yeah, there
surprised.
is so
You
much
got some Arnold
going
movies in there. You'd think you'd wanna talk about those, but okay.
on.
Eh.
You know what? I didn't see Total Recall until much later, and here we go again, on the USA channel,
Oh
USA
god.
Network, with commercials and edited, like, it
Sure.
completely, like, edited out, you know? So, that was my experience with Total Recall.
Well, what is your favorite movie of 1990?
It is Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas.
Ah,
Quite
okay.
quite possibly, and I'd say it's even better than The Godfather, any of the Godfather movies. I feel like it's quintessentially, like, the mob movie. It gets everything right about it, about, like, the downfall of the mob, what, like, what happens when get mixed up in this kind of, like, life from a young age, and it was just, like, a really cool story, and it's Martin Scorsese. It's just an amazing movie filled
I've
with
never
such
seen that
memorable
movie.
characters.
Never seen
I
that movie.
know. I'm pretty
See, I
sure
I
that
was
that was
never in
actually
I was never
for
in the into the mafia movies. I really wasn't. Like, I
wait,
never watched The
wait,
Godfather.
this is why it sucks for, Goodfellas, because it's not really it's more of like a piece of cinema than it is like a mafia movie. There are plenty of mafia movies out there besides, like, The
No,
Godfather and
I get that. That's why I've never seen it though, because it was presented as like your typical like crime sort of movie, mafia movie. I don't know. That's what my
no,
memory of
no,
it.
one of the best scenes in the movie is with Martin Scorsese's mother, who plays Joe Pesci's character's mother in the film. That's, like, one of the best scenes, it's like him talking with his mom, like, in the middle of the night with, his friends, and they're all eating around the table. It's it it's one of those Scorsese movies, like, you gotta see it. You can't wait any longer, Justin. And you'll be like, "Oh, this isn't just a mafia movie. It's more than
Well, so is it the
that's
story? Is
why."
it the cinematography? Is it just the acting? Like, what is about it? I mean, I know probably a
It is
little everything.
everything, 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 like, the acting in it is amazing between Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro, and, Joe Pesci, and Paul Sorvini as their boss, and you really, like, watch it's based on a true story, like, it's actually most of it is rooted in things that actually happened, and famous, like, crimes through, history of, New York State. So it's really cool. Like it's not an autobiography, but kind of is of a Ray Liotta's character, Henry Hill. But yeah, and then it gets worse, and you see like the downfall when they get mixed up with cocaine and selling drugs, and and then he becomes a rat, and he snitches on his friends.
Thought I wasn't a mafia movie, but okay.
But it's the way it happens,
Uh, I'm just joking. Um, I
What about
I
you,
I
Justin?
see.
What was your favorite?
I didn't have. I think this is the nature of not having an older sibling. I think that helped with you still be able to watch some of these movies maybe earlier. I'm not sure.
Uh-huh.
Because I stuck in the mainstream of things for sure. Um, uh, I'm tough. It's tough for me. Like I honestly am leaning to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That's like my favorite one on this list. But that could have been my answer until recently, where we rewatched Dick Tracy.
It's
Like
not a bad movie.
I'm telling you, like I'm looking at that and like I really wish we had released that review because we have to do it again sometime. But this, I guess, it's a
Yes,
good
I
time for
think
us to
we
chat
will.
about it. Like that is a great, I think, underrated, unsung movie. Warren Beatty holds it down. We talked about that before, but
That's the
like,
only problem we have
yeah,
is
but
the
like,
director is in the movie.
but it's like it's still not bad. Like you're fine with it. It's like there's just so you the costuming is unique. It's a oddly enough it's a mafia movie, which is funny. Um,
It's
sort of
more of a Law
crime
and Order
boss.
movie, yeah,
Yeah, but like it's but it
cops
is
and robbers.
such a unique. I remember, and I was obsessed with this movie when it came out. which is so weird. I look at the year 1990. I think I'm so little, but like I'm like look. I watch movies like Kindergarten Cop or I Gremlins 2. Like, and I'm like,
That's yep, I wrote that one down too.
why did I watch these films back there? Now I'm also have a love for Back to the Future 3. I mean, I'm just listing out all these movies. I'm just shouting out a million things. But Dick Tracy probably is my favorite, only because I rewatched it recently. I don't think I would have answered that if we hadn't, to be honest.
You know, and that's why it wasn't my favorite movie. I couldn't put it over Goodfellas, but Dick Tracy was the second one, like, I circled. I'm like, "It's a good movie." And
Yeah.
I loved the story as a kid. I had, like, this big Dick Tracy comic from the, which is just basically the movie. I've talked to you about it before. I think it was like a promotional item, or it was just like they were, tying with the movie and selling this comic. And it was Warren Beatty's character, like, drawn as Warren
Mhm.
Beatty in the tests as that actress in Madonna. Um, like, visually, as you were saying, and, like, it actually has cinematography to it. For being, like, what is
And
the first comic book movie, it's
yeah,
pretty good,
and Al
pretty good.
Pacino. Al Pacino in that movie is
He's
phenomenal.
crazy, he's over
He
the top.
is
That's
great.
great, yeah,
Yeah, it's I highly anyone if you have not watched that movie or it's been a while and you only remember it as a child,
you gotta
you
watch it
didn't
again.
you didn't appreciate it. Like you just thought it
Yep,
was you just fell into the marketing ploy as a 7-year-old. That's
yep.
really all it was.
The McDonald's tie-ins, if there probably was.
Um, Fun fact about 1990, which I thought was interesting, because I know this is a favorite movie as yours. We've talked about it before. Is Kiki's Delivery Service came out in 1990, which I was like
Oh,
surprised.
really?
I was on the
Oh, I
list
didn't.
when I was going down through it. I was like, wow, that movie came out because I know it took forever for us to get to it because obviously
Yeah,
coming over and all that stuff. I'm like, wow, that's like so weird how like movies that we fell in love in senior year of high school or college like came out so much
we're
earlier in
yeah,
Japan.
we're, like, almost 10 years old by the time they got to us.
Yeah,
Yeah, crazy,
yeah.
crazy.
So
I have a couple I just wanna mention really quickly that
sure,
I mean, you did mention, Gremlins 2, which was the first Gremlins I saw. Like, I
okay.
knew what they were, I knew that there was a first movie, I never saw it, and I just watched the sequel, and then I think we taped it, like, on an HBO free weekend,
I think for the same thing for me too. I watched the sequel and
and
then
and I just watched it over and over and over again with the Clampett Company Corporation, whatever, the Clamp.
I don't
That was
remember.
I remember so many obscure details from this movie. The chocolate mousse that was actually like a mousse that, like, at the restaurant, it was like a
I just
dessert.
remember all the different gremlins that show up in the mall. It's
Yes,
just so hilarious.
which is why that Key and Peele sketch, about Gremlins 2 is so accurate. It's like
I haven't seen that
a
one.
it's a pitch meeting for it, and the guy is, like, this flamboyant, who, like, is, like, the sequel script doctor. He's so, like, flamboyant and, like, he says, "Tell me whatever kind of gremlin you want, I'll put it in the movie." And so people just start, like, coming up with crazy ideas or like, "A vegetable gremlin? How about one made of lightning?" They're like, "Yes, it's in the movie. Yes, it's in the movie." Like, he says no to nothing. And
Oh,
so one of them
that's
was like,
funny.
How about one that is like a bat, and when he goes up in front of the moon, it kinda looks like Batman?" He's like, "Yes, that's in the movie." Becomes a gargoyle at the end.
I'm not going to talk about this movie. I just want to shout out another one thing, and then we can move on. I just remember the moment, like it was just an event in my life, just like going to see the Ducktales, the movie, Treasure of the
Oh, I
Lost Lamp. I was
yeah.
a big Ducktales fan, and I was like excited for that. But that's all. That's all I will say.
Misery too. It's a good it's a good movie.
Misery.
James Caan, Misery with,
Oh, okay.
Kathy Bates.
No clue.
Her favorite author, played by James Caan, like, gets into an accident near her, and he's decided to kill off a character from his book series that she loves. So she holds him hostage and makes him rewrite the novel.
Oh,
It's, crazy. It's based on a Stephen King book. It's so good. Kathy Bates is, like, so scary. But, okay, that's all for
it's okay.
1990.
So moving on, we're a year older, we're going to 1991.
Yes.
I will give you. I'll set the stage again.
What grade were we in
This would.
1991? To be honest, I'm trying to remember what grade were we in?
Well, I think we started school in '89. That seem right? So we would have been
Yeah.
second grade or third grade. I guess it depends on when it came out in '91. So it would have been either second or third, I think.
Great. Yeah, second or third grade. I think third grade, but okay.
So this actually is a really good list of movies, to be quite honest. So the first one is Terminator 2: Judgment Day. Two,
Yeah.
Robin Hood, Prince of Seas. We talked about that a little bit before the show.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, the costume, baby.
Three, Beauty and the Beast. Four, Hook. Five, The Silence
Hmm.
of the Lambs. Six, JFK, which I remember that being a huge, big event back then, but I have never seen that movie.
I have. It's all right.
Seven, The Naked Gun. Two and a half, The Smell of Fear.
Mhm.
Naked freaking Naked Gun movies. Eight, The Addams Family. Nine, Cape Fear, and 10, Hot Shots. Surprised to see Hot Shots in the top 10, but I guess that was a big thing back then.
It was like, I mean, Lampoon movies were like catching
Yeah,
fire,
they're
like the
huge.
Naked Gun movies, like these kinds of like
Police
lampooning a
and
genre.
Police Academy was already popular by that point. That's
Yep.
National Lampoon
And
too.
Hot Shots is more like a Rambo kind of lampoon. So,
Hmm.
right? He's like the whatever.
Well,
Yeah,
it kind of makes some fun of all the military movies, so it's like I think it
exactly.
had a little bit of Top Gun in there too,
Yeah.
kind of vibe. I personally was a bit better fan of the sequel. That's
Me too.
later on. So, anyways, but what's your favorite movie from
Well, I
1991?
want I want to ask you the question you asked me really quickly. Is your favorite in this top 10?
Um, See, there's two ways I can go about this. It's either if I go nostalgia or if I go actual, like that's my favorite. Like I actually agree that's like my favorite movie. Fun fact, a weird thing too, on my list. How did they make the sequel to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 in 1 year? That's what I understand. Like it's
Isn't
back.
that crazy? They were already working on it before once people found out that there was gonna be the movie, and they were already getting, like, a lot of interest, they're like, "Start working on a sequel." Like, just
Hmm.
get ready. This is the cash cow.
All right,
So,
because
I
like
will tell you what mine is in this top 10.
okay, like obviously Terminator 2 is like way up there on my thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm gonna lean to nostalgia because I just want to talk about it. It's Hook. I love freaking
Damn it,
Hook.
Justin, that's what I put too.
Oh,
I didn't even put Terminator 2 on this because I didn't honestly see this movie until much later
oh,
too.
see, I guess I didn't look at it as like we with when you it's just we whenever we saw it kind of a thing. It didn't matter.
I know, but, like, if I was to like, when am I ever gonna, like, compare these 2 as movies, Hook versus Terminator 2? I gotta tell you, I like Hook more, It's a fun movie. I can't wait. I think we're gonna, like, watch that with the kids soon here, at least with,
I
like,
know
Julian and
going through this, it's like I kind of like, oh man, I would rewatch this movie. I'd watch this
Yeah.
again. Um,
Yep.
I think Terminator 2, like neither of us saw it in theaters, so we probably didn't see it until it came to VHS. So we probably were maybe closer to fourth grade, a little bit older. I don't know how I watched that at fourth grade, but still,
So, I was much older when I finally saw Terminator 2, like, actually watched the whole movie.
because I think I watched it with my parents, but then they would have me close my eyes at certain parts. That's what
Huh.
they like when he cuts his arm and stuff like that. Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
they're like close your eyes. I'm like, oh okay. But yeah, no Hook. It's such a I can't even complain
Great
about
movie.
anything in that movie. There's nothing to complain about. It's perfect for what it was trying to do. It was
Mhm.
legit a perfect movie. The perfect casting. Like why I would think Dustin Hoffman would work as Hook, I have no idea, but like it's perfect.
Yes. Also, Maggie Smith, who has always been old, is in that movie as the old Wendy, you know?
Okay.
She's been in everything, and she's still acting and stuff, and she's always looked old.
I'm sure
Like,
she
it's
did look old at some point, right?
like, when? 1925? Like,
Who is this again?
ser
I know who you're talking
Dame
about.
Dame Maggie Smith. She's, McGonagall from the Harry Potter movies.
That is McGonagall. She looked a lot younger in that movie than she did in Harry
A
Potter, though.
little bit. She has always looked old, though. Like,
Maggie's.
she's old.
Let
She's always looked old.
me
I'm sure she was
see.
very fetching. I'm not saying it's not a nice-looking woman, because even for her age, she is a nice-looking woman, but she's always been like that.
She's only 88 years old. So
See? She's gonna act for another 12
she
years and then
was
retire and live to 120.
she would have been our parents' age when they made that movie. Like our current parents' age, like the way our parents are now.
Yeah. I will since you took Hook, and it is a good movie. I'm not if there's do you have anything else you wanna say about Hook?
I don't know how else to really I mean, go watch it, seriously. Why haven't you watched this movie if you haven't watched Hook?
Like, if you know the Peter Pan story, this is like a logical sequel to it almost, you know? Like, it's like what happens if Peter goes back to live among regular
And
people?
I think I watched an interview for
Like,
that
the
movie
whole thing is real.
where the
Mm,
director or, like, whoever produced it, like, their child asks, like, what happens if Peter he just asked him that question, "What happens if Peter Pan grew up?" And he's
yep.
like, "Oh, crap. We have, like, an awesome movie to make."
Mhm.
Um, but one thing about Hook I will say is, like, you have that beginning like, the beginnings where they have, like, the he has, like, the gigantic cell phone duel. Like, it's
Yes.
it's
That's
it's so
oh my god.
ridiculous how big that phone he has.
Well, this is like the beginning of Robin Williams comedy movies starting now, like, really starting with Hook, and then, like, every year there's gonna be one,
Mhm.
and they're only gonna get more and more popular. Like, this is the
Some are
beginning.
bad. Like, some are kinda bad,
Some
though.
are bad. By what is it? Bicentennial Man. That's a good one, right?
Oh god.
Okay, so I have one movie to mention. I had it, like, kinda tied with Hook anyway, so I'm not too broken up that you took Hook. This movie, I love it. I think it's a great movie. It captures a part of life that I have know nothing about. It's Boys in the Hood.
Never
It's,
s
directed by John Singleton. It's got Cuba Gooding Jr. in it, a bunch of other, like, character actors that you would see in, like, a ton of movies, and I think Delroy Lindo's in it. Or no, this is the one with Lawrence Fishburne as his father. Oh, man, it's a great movie.
I'm trying to
Like, as
wait, Lawrence Fishburne plays Cuba Gooding Jr.'s father?
correct.
That seems like a very small age gap.
It is, because it's like he's a young parent, and his son, who's, like, a teenager, is coming to live with him, and he still lives, like, in the old neighborhood in a very, rough part of town, and Cuba Gooding Jr. is, like, going back to live with him, and it's just kind of like it's a tragedy and just a, uh, kind of crazy movie in terms of, like, you know, what it shows you, but, I mean, it's directed by John Singleton, the actors are great, the story is really interesting, you really feel for the characters. I don't know. It's like one of those movies everyone has to see at least once.
I have
So,
not. That's 2
uh,
that's 2 so far. You're
it's terrible.
100% on me movies I have not seen.
Yep. Well, alright. Do you have
Well,
any others that you'd like to
just gonna
shout out
add
here?
my favorite Disney movie came out this year, which would Beauty and the Beast. So, but go watch our episode on favorite Disney movie. So, um,
Silence of the Lambs came out this year, which
I
is an
know.
excellent movie
That's
too.
I wasn't sure, like, that's such a because I think that won Best Picture that year,
I
and
bet. Yeah.
maybe, or it was at least nominated for Best Picture.
No, it
But
it won the top 5 categories: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best
okay,
Actress,
it is
and
a
Best Screenplay.
it is a phenomenal movie, but I never would, like, ask I don't think I'd ever watch it again. That's the thing. I'd watch Terminator 2 again, I'd watch Hook again. I don't think I'd watch Silence of the Lambs again.
And you're absolutely right. I agree with you because I was listening to a previous episode of ours where we were talking about The Shining, and we made the same kind of uh statement saying like, it's a great movie, but it's not like one I'm like, oh yeah, let me just put on Silence of the Lambs and kick back and relax.
Hey,
It's like
kids.
any of these movies, like Hook or Boys in the Hood, even if it was like in the middle of it, I would just stop and watch it.
Even like Terminator
You know?
2. Terminator 2, I would do that too. I think I'd
Yeah,
watch that
yeah,
again.
I agree.
Hell, heck,
King
I'd probably watch Hot Shots again before I'd watch The Silence of the Lambs.
What about King Ralph came out in this year with John Goodman.
I didn't see that.
You remember
I
that?
remember the cover, but I never watched it.
It's like a John Candy style movie of like, he's like a weird he's like Uncle Buck, but as a king. That's what the character is like.
My one movie on here I saw I wouldn't mind watching, and I didn't bring up is White Fang. I don't know why I like that as a kid. I'd be curious what it is as an older person.
I
But
never watched the movie for it.
and then I just shouted City Slickers was fun, and
People Under the Stairs.
and
That
uh,
scared the hell
an
out of me.
American Tale of Five is the West, which I've watched
I,
actually with my kids. I love that
I knew you were going to bring that one up.
movie. Hey,
JFK is it's also one of those like I'll see it once and that's good enough for me.
yeah.
But it has like the famous line where Kevin Costner is describing the Zapruder film of when Kennedy is shot, like we actually see it, and he keeps doing this over and over. He goes, and you can see because he's talking about like the trajectory of the bullet, and goes, and you'd think it'd go this way, but it actually goes back into the left, back into the left, back. He just like repeats it 6 times.
Hmm.
And so that became a thing with my roommates in Oswego. We would just, because we all watched it together, we would just repeat that like back into the left, back into the left, like over and over.
All right. Well, we're gonna go back into the left into a break,
All
and
right.
when we get back into the left, we will we will talk.
We'll have left 1991 and found 1992.
All right, we'll be right back. And welcome back. We're gonna go through more of 1990. Where our next year is 1992.
Yes.
I think what we're now in 4th or 3rd grade. Have you figured that out? What grade are we in now? Kind of want to. I'm kind of.
What grade are we in now? Well, we're in perpetual 13th grade.
I think we were in 3rd
wow.
grade when this happened.
We graduated from high school in 2001. So
Okay.
senior, sophomore.
Well, while you figure that out, I'm gonna pull up the highest grossings for 1992.
We're in 4th grade. We're in 3rd grade because we're 92.
Well, were we finishing 3rd grade in 92 and then starting 4th grade? Is that how that would work?
I guess so, yes.
Okay.
So we started in 2nd grade this year, right?
No,
And
see,
then-
no, see, I'm confused. Anyways, we were in elementary school. We'll just say that.
Yes.
So in 1992, to set the stage again, we have Aladdin #1, The Bodyguard #2,
Mhm.
Home Alone 2,
Good
Lost in New York #3, Basic Instinct, Lethal Weapon
yeah.
3, Batman Returns, A Few Good Men, Sister Act, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Now that was a moment
Jesus.
in time.
Yeah.
I watched
This
that
is the
film.
only. Yes, me too.
Oh my god, it was like
Parted my way through it.
And then finally, #10, Wayne's World. Anyways,
Never seen it.
Wayne's World. You've never seen Wayne's
Never
World?
Never seen it.
Wow.
Only bits and pieces on TV. Never sat through it. Not my cup of tea, tell you the truth. Not a big Mike Myers sketches fan.
You liked Austin Powers, though, right?
Yeah, I think that's a good movie.
You just didn't like his sketches.
Most of his sketches, no, except for the German music group. Do you remember that one? They were
Vaguely remember them. I can't
they were
remember
called,
what the
like
skit was called.
Sprockets. Sprockets is what it was called.
Oh,
But
okay.
anyways,
Well,
go on.
anyways, Wayne
Yes.
World. That's all we'll talk about Wayne's World. Is that right there?
Yep.
What is your favorite movie of 1992?
This was not hard at all. There's a lot of good movies
Gonna
that
be
came
ano-
out this year.
It's gonna be another one I haven't seen.
Oh, don't worry. It's Army of Darkness. This is by far my favorite movie that came out in this year.
Wait, did I not? I thought I wrote that down. Wait, was that 92? I thought that was 93.
No, it is not 93, even though there is some conflicting knowledge, conflicting information on the old Wikipedia.
Is it conflicting? Because I wrote Army of Darkness for 93. Now I'm confused.
Okay, well, just took it from you. But
No,
what
that
we
wasn't my
talked
favorite. I
about-
just I wrote it in my list for 93. So I'm now confused of the
It
year.
actually released in 92, but for
Okay.
some reason, it shows up on the 93 list. If you look at the list of years in film, I
Weird.
think we're both using the
Yeah.
same. Yeah, you
Weird.
see that?
Yeah.
But both of them, like, and every time it redirects to it, it says it's a 1992 film. So, Army of Darkness is a 1992 film
Okay.
that was actually, to tell you the truth, I saw it before I saw any of the Evil Dead movies. Like, Army of Darkness was the first one I watched
Same here.
because it recaps the first two movies in 2.5 minutes at the beginning of Army of Darkness.
That's
Just
correct.
gives you all the backstory you need to know, and then throws you into
So
the very end of
a completely
Evil Dead
different
2.
type of movie than the first two were.
Mhm, mhm. Army of
I'm
Darkness is great because it is
I'm
like a bending of genre movie.
I'm glad that it came out in '92 because I was having a hard time like in '93. It was tough. I was tough to like pick that as my favorite in '93.
Mhm.
But I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, you already picked it, so I can't use it. But that is a very good choice. I applaud your choice. So good
Oh,
job.
thank you.
Good
Thank
job
you.
doing your research because I did not know that.
Bram Stoker's Dracula sucks terribly, but it's fascinating. It's like watching a car crash. You can't, like, look away. You just wanna see what happens next.
Why was that
Uh,
so popular? I don't understand. I remember watching that.
I
I
don't know
just
either. I don't know either why it was so popular. I think people just were in love with Winona Ryder and Keanu Reeves. Like,
hmm
they were pretty people,
they they they
and then you had
they
Gary Oldman.
they advertised it like the hell out of that movie
Yeah, they
too.
did. But that and it had that really cool design of, like, the front door there of, like, the bat, like, the gray
hmm
stone or whatever that is. It looks really cool. A Few Good Men, that's a classic from this from in film in general, remember? I don't know if you've seen it, but it's
Nope.
where we get the line, "The truth? You can't handle
Oh,
the truth."
I've seen clips from the movie. I haven't seen that one
It's a
yet.
really good movie. It's a really, really good movie. It's a more of a legal drama. It's very cool. That's a slice of '90s life right there. Um, but A Few Good Men. Hoffa as well with, Jack Nicholson, another Jack Nicholson
I
movie.
love how we don't watch the same things throughout this era whatsoever.
Nope. Uh, Ladybugs, I'll put that in there, and A League of Their Own. Those were
Oh,
fun movies.
yeah, Leo, I had that on my list. Ladybugs, actually, when I saw that now, when you say it out loud, when I saw it on the list, I'm like, what's that? And I did skip through past it. But now I remember it's isn't that the soccer movie?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Guy dresses up as a girl to be on the girls' soccer team and, like, destroy them, to become, like, the best player ever, and
So,
it's called has Rodney Dangerfield on it.
yep. Now I have two answers for my favorite. Again, kind of like the Hook Terminator 2 vibe. Now
Sure.
I'll go. I'm gonna say the one that probably should be my favorite, but again, I didn't see this so way later. So that's Reservoir Dogs.
Yes, that's on here. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I would say, like, out of all the movies that came out that year that I've seen, that's probably one of the better movies, or at least ones that I would one to definitely I'd be. I don't know if I'd watch it again. It's tough. Like,
Don't, don't,
don't.
don't. Like, you've already seen it, you've got that impression. It's not
Yeah,
gonna
but
I tried. It just
you
it's, like,
didn't.
of its time. It's
Yeah,
of its time.
it's hard.
Just
It's hard to go.
really
I watched clips from it. Like, there's like the I think what the
that's probably fine.
there's like an IMDb or some website that does like maybe Fandango that does like clips from
Fandango does.
classic movies or something like that.
Mhm.
But honestly, I think my really honest my favorite movie from that year is Honey I Blew. Oh no! Is it Honey I Blew Up the Kids? I thought it was Honey I Shrunk the Kids.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is, like, 88, 89.
I wrote Blew Up the Kids on here thinking it was Shrunk the Kids.
Honey, I Blew Up the Kid is when the
Then that's
toddler
not my
gets
answer. God damn it!
That movie sucks.
I know.
Well, while you're thinking, I
Batman
got 2 more
Returns.
to shout out.
My answer is Batman
Glenn
Returns.
Gary Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Traces of Red is a terrible movie, but it's, like, so
Oh
bad it's
god, I did.
good.
93 was hard. I was looking at it, I was like, none of these are like really like great in my mind, but like I guess
Yeah, it was rough.
I mean Aladdin's awesome, but it's not Mighty Ducks is cool. Like a League
Again,
of
not
yeah.
like anything you're like, "Wow, yes,
Yeah,
Sister Act."
it's gotta be Batman Returns then. I can't think of anything else.
I don't even remember that movie, to tell you the
It's
truth.
got Christopher Walken in it. It's great.
I know, I know. And Danny DeVito and Michelle
Yeah.
Pfeiffer. All
Uh,
that. Don't remember much about it though. All right.
you know
Okay,
what?
very good. Let's leave
My
1993
final
retro.
answer is a Muppet's Christmas Tale. That's what I'm gonna
I saw that too. I was like, would it be
say.
weird if I selected this?
I watch that. We watch that every Christmas now. Our kids love it. Like so, I'm like it's good.
We watch the Muppet Family Christmas every year.
Oh,
That's our
okay.
favorite. That
Hey,
one is our Christmas tradition too.
yeah,
I love that movie.
Michael Caine's great in Christmas Carol. It's a good job. It's a good job.
You know, we started watching that one, uh, and Julian and I still need to finish it. It scared Diana a little bit too much.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, but no, it
So
was
we
like
so she was excused while Julian and I kept watching
and
during Christmas.
one thing I'll add with '93 though, Cool World was a horrible movie, but I wanted to be a cool movie.
We wanted it to be good. They advertised in comic books, so they were clearly trying to make it for us, but it sucked. All right, goodbye 1992.
Oh God.
Let's
Okay.
talk 93. This has
Which
got a lot of
is a good year, right?
ooh, yeah, it's a pretty good year.
Very good year. All right. Well, let's just talk about the box office. Number
Sure.
one, Jurassic Park. Number two, Mrs. Doubtfire. The Fugitive. Schindler's
Wow,
List. The Firm.
damn,
Indecent Proposal. Cliffhanger. Sleepless in Seattle. Philadelphia. And The Pelican Brief.
those first 9, I could easily give you a synopsis of the movie. I know those movies,
I
you know?
uh,
I
I
don't
don't.
know anything about The Pelican Brief except that it was
You know.
based on, like, a Grisham novel
You know
or
what's
something.
hilarious is I owned the Pelican Brief for so freaking long on DVD for no apparent reason. Some random
Yep.
person at college gave it to me, and I'm like, I don't know why you gave me this movie. I never watched it.
No one has seen this movie, I think. I think this is, like, the one movie in history where it was, like, released, but that worldwide gross is 195,000 compared to Jurassic Park's
Well,
914
we got like
million, sorry, not
you
1,000.
got the up and coming Denzel Washington and what's her name, Julia Roberts. I mean, it's
But
just
Denzel's in Philadelphia in a better story about
oh
the
yeah,
lawyer who gets AIDS. Sleepless in Seattle, that's Tom Hanks again with Meg Ryan.
yeah.
Cliffhanger, Sylvester Stallone and a bunch of nobodies that would come on later to get careers when they were
I've never
older.
watched Indecent Proposal. I never watched that.
That one I saw much later. That's Woody Harrelson, Demi Moore, Robert Redford. Robert Redford basically asks them like, "I'll pay you $1,000,000 to sleep with your wife
Yeah,
for like
I
a
know.
month."
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what the proposal is. But
but
The Firm, gosh, that was a big one. That was a big Tom Cruise role.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Schindler's
No,
List, The
those are
Fugitive.
really great.
Jesus,
Now, were any of these in this list your favorite?
no. How about you?
Uh,
Is it on this list? Yes or no?
it could be.
What do you mean it could be? Either it is or it isn't.
I mean,
Well, look,
Jurassic Park is like it's just like it stands the test of time. The problem.
yeah, it's a good movie. It's a good movie.
It's great.
Not gonna lie.
I
So
have
is
another
Mrs.
one.
Doubtfire.
Yeah,
Mrs.
no,
Doubtfire
but
is killer.
I would
Miss
never watch Mrs. Doubtfire again. I'll watch Jurassic Park again.
I will watch Mrs. Doubtfire if it's, like, in the middle of the movie. I don't wanna watch the beginning or the end. I just wanna watch Robin Williams do funny shit for 40 minutes of the movie. I'll tell you what mine is.
Okay,
It's actually a tie.
I have another one. Like this is like it's so hard for me to pick. I was gonna say Harmony
Okay.
Darkness, but you stole it from me. So
Before I say, a couple notable ones, Alive came out this year, and I saw that movie, like, we rented it from video to roll, uh, and it's about the, Chilean soccer team or Brazilian soccer team that their plane crashes in the Andes Mountains, and they survive eventually by resorting to cannibalism, but they are rescued in the end.
oh, okay, that sounds
Yeah, it's
morbid.
crazy. Yeah, and not a movie for somebody at this age in 1993 should be watching,
No,
but we watched it.
no.
My brother, my mom, and I all sat and watched that movie. I was very, adult for my age, Justin. Okay, so I'm really tied between 2 movies. It's hard for me to choose.
Yeah,
One
it's
is,
tough.
like, a legitimately fun movie, and the other is a movie I could just watch at any time because it's, like, a part of my family practically. So It's a tie between My Neighbor Totoro
I saw that on there. I knew you were gonna say that.
and Groundhog Day.
My other one's Groundhog Day. Like,
Yeah,
it's tough. Like,
such a good movie.
I haven't watched Groundhog Day in many, 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 many years though. I don't have it,
That that holds up.
and it
It
gets
does hold up.
I I still think I'm leaning Jurassic Park just because it's like there's nothing. I don't know. It's such a freaking awesome movie. Like it hold like the special effects in that movie hold up. I've watched it so many times over the years, and I just like never look at it like, well, that looks weird. Oh, it's such a good movie though.
As long as you're watching just the regular version of the movie, not the did you see, like, the 3D? They tried to release, like, a
Oh,
3D version.
I can't see 3D.
Friends of ours went and saw it like that, and they were like, "It was like watching a diorama." It was like 2D, like, watching, like, a play set. But, no, it's a good movie. It's hard to as a movie, it's a good movie. Besides the gimmick, besides all the hype, as a movie, it's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
There's some other good shout outs to this movie though this year too. Like Demolition Man, I just have a soft spot for 'cause it's just ridiculous.
Yes.
The Sandlot is a great film. I
Oh,
think.
that's this oh, I missed that. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Sandlot.
great.
Um,
Free
yeah,
Willy.
yeah, Free Willy. Nightmare Before Christmas. I feel like over time I haven't liked as much. I liked it when it came out, but it's just like I've rewatched it a few times since then, and it's just like it doesn't seem to hit as hard as it did back, years ago.
Can I tell you something?
Go for it.
Never seen it.
I'm not surprised. I don't know why. I'm not surprised.
It just
It's
it
really
wasn't
cool.
for me.
It's cool
I
animation, and the songs are
I
really good. Some of the songs are really good.
I've just never had the desire. Like, I
Yeah.
know everybody loved it, and I just like, "Okay, like, someday I'll see it."
You
Day hasn't
you
come yet.
you keep staying that 8-year-old that's watching Goodfellas, okay? You like
Uh, Also, 2 movies, one before we go on to 1994, our last year.
yeah.
Tombstone, which is a great Western with, it's all about, Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday and, the showdown at the OK Corral. It's pretty good. And then, oh, what's the other one? Dazed and Confused, which,
I
to tell
remember
you
that
the
movie.
truth,
I remember that movie.
I I watched it and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is funny. It's cool." It it was, like, meant for people that were, like, 4 or 5 years older than us, and just enough of a, like, difference in age where it's just like, it doesn't land so much." But people, like, slightly older than us are like, "This movie is, like, great. This movie is," they love this movie.
Yeah. It's funny, we
So,
didn't really talk
oh,
about
I
our favorites that much in this year. We just kept listing off movies.
this was a
Why?
rough like, these are a couple of rough years, but
Why do you like Groundhog Day so much?
okay, fair enough. Groundhog's Day, because it is this, like, time loop of him repeating, and I remember, like, they show, like, a montage several times, they show
Of
montages of
him
just,
killing
like, days
himself
going by,
and
and
killing
him killing himself, just, like, there's plenty of days where he's, like, trying to do good, and it doesn't work, like, it and I think they asked the director or, like, the writer of the movie, like, what how long was he in, like, doing this day, like, in how many, like, months or years? And he was like, he was there for, like, 111 years or something, like, it was an insane amount of time
Oh wow,
that he
really?
had been, uh, maybe not that much, but it was a long period of time.
Maybe 111
Uh,
days? That seems more
I'm
accurate.
gonna I'm gonna find out, but no, it was much more than that.
I just think it's like it's such a weird. My dad loved that movie. Like my dad, I think of my
Yes.
dad. I think of my dad whenever that movie comes out when it comes
I
out.
wasn't too far off. 33 years and 350 days. That's how many times he repeated it. That meant that he repeated it 12,395 times. He repeated that day.
Ugh.
33 years
But
doing it.
so
So, you see the apathy in him. You see him just like, "I am a god. Like, I know, like, when everything is going to happen." And there's a line in it, he's like, "Maybe God isn't like, like a supernatural being or anything. He's just been here for so long. He just knows, how everything is gonna go.
Like, you think, like, after he's there that long, like, they didn't show him trying to, like, to, like, learn things or, like
Mhm.
did they
They
show
do. They
that?
show him learning how to play the piano,
Oh, that's
and by
right.
the end of the movie, he's playing like improvising jazz piano like a master, like
That's
Ray
right.
Charles, like
Oh,
sitting
yeah,
at
because
the
he's trying to learn all these things to impress the girl
he
eventually.
learns yep, he learns French. It's like he can't fake it, so it takes him 33 years to get it right. Like, he does all these things so that when he gets to hang out with her,
It's
he,
such a
uh
yeah, got
yeah,
it's a for my memory, because 'cause it's been so long since I've watched it, so you have obviously
good movie.
more to speak to, but, like, I just remember it being just such a smart,
Mhm,
like, handling that kind of constant, like, repetition, but, like, adding, like, the little subtle differences every single time, or remembering the exact scenes every single time. It's like, kinda it makes me think of Back to the Future and how they handled that whole thing where you had to, like, redo certain things, but add a little different extra flair to it. But, like,
mhm.
yeah, it just and Bill Murray is just the perfect casting of that movie. I can't imagine anyone doing that role. Like, I just can't see it.
No, no, and I feel weird, like, talking about it because we're gonna eventually, like, upload this as a podcast and the YouTube, and then, like, this movie, like, us saying like, talking about it will enter in an algorithm, and somebody will decide, "Oh, it's time to remake Groundhog Day." Like, please don't do that, please. This is a good movie as it is.
Yeah.
Just let it be.
We're
Yeah.
just re-release it. Just
You
remaster
should
it.
definitely watch it again. If you I mean, I know there's a lot of things you have to watch. Me too, but,
Yeah,
uh, definitely worth watching again.
absolutely.
Alright. Alright.
Finally,
Do
the last
you have
year that
anything else to say about '93? Or
I
we're
mean,
just
the Super Mario Brothers movie came out that year. That's all I'll say. Um,
that's it. We all fell for it. We all fell for it.
why wasn't that in the top 10? Um, so after we do the last year of part one, 1994, I'd like to you to say your favorite of this first
Mhm.
half too, as well,
Of this.
of this first
Yep.
half. So 1994, let's get set the stage there for that. Number one, Lion King. I look this is like the Disney revelation, like the
Yep.
era of the Disney movies.
Got
Uh,
the one every year here.
Forrest Gump, number two, True Lies, The Mask, Speed, The Flintstones, Dumb and Dumber, Four Weddings and a Funeral, Interview with a Vampire, and Clear and Present Danger. Um, anything about those movies you want to talk about? Any of those your favorites? What do you got for me there?
Those 10? Uh, no, not in my favorites. I do like I like Interview with the Vampire. I thought was a cool movie. It still kinda holds up. Dumb and Dumber was always fun. Like, that's another one of those, like, stupid comedies, like, if it's on, like, yeah, I'll watch it for a few minutes. I'll see where it is in the
True
movie.
Lies is great. I would watch that again personally. I love True Lies.
I feel like I have to give that one another it's been so long since I've seen it. I bet it still kinda holds up.
Arnold's got he's a comedic genius. I'm telling you. We've had this conversation, but it's a great one. Forrest Gump, I remember like thinking it was like, wow, this is a great, crazy movie, and I would never watch it again though. It's
That's the thing. It's like it's more of like an experience, like, you just
yeah.
go and you see it once and you're like, "Okay, cool, got it."
But I was obsessed with the mask for sure. And but
Were you really
yeah, I was obsessed with the mask.
smoking?
I think Ace Ventura came out that year too. I didn't realize he had to come out in the same year. It's weird.
Yeah, that's weird that it like, both of these but yeah, this was like the beginning of Jim Carrey
Yeah. But
domination.
what is your and just we're not going to bring this. If you want to know more about this, go watch our review. The Shadow came out this year,
Yes, yes, go watch our
and
review.
go
It
learn
is
about
amazing.
Margot Lane.
Oh, wait, no, 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 it wasn't was it Margot
Yeah,
Lane? L
Margot Lane.
Lane. Yes, definitely check that out. Well, Justin, are you ready for this?
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't think
ready.
you're ready for this. What
I
was my favorite film that came out in 1994? There are a lot of great ones,
yeah, there are a lot of great
but
ones.
if I'm talking about, like, movie that I could just watch anytime it's on, that would be the original. and still the best Stargate
Good.
with James Spader,
I'm happy that
Kurt Russell.
it, it,
Excellent movie.
it's a great movie. The show's better, but it's a great movie. Casting's better in the show. It
No, you
is.
can't get better than James Spader. Sorry.
I don't know about that one.
But you do have
Neil,
MacGyver on the show, I
yeah,
will say.
MacGyver is better, and you got your Christopher Judge. You like him for Kratos? He's in there too.
True. He's a great actor.
But yeah, you know, I'm excited that you picked that one. I think you're gonna be surprised by my pick though.
Such a
So
such a cool, like, design. It's so different, you know? The Egyptian theme, but, like, kind of comic booky, futuristic.
it's so weird it
So
never got a sequel. Like it I know it didn't do well in the box office, obviously with the top 10. Like it wasn't like
no,
this crazy thing, but
but
like
its
I loved it.
effects were good. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, it did the effects. It didn't overdo it. So, it really just limited it to, like, animations, like transition scenes, like Ra's helmet, like, full, like, regalia
Hmm.
melting into him, or, like, his warriors, their masks, like, coming off. I love the concept that it was like an alien creature that, is, like, just, like, part of this species that does this, that goes and, like, kind of, like, invades and takes over a planet.
See, I've always like when I watched that movie when it came out. I liked it when it came out. I was so confused. I was so misunderstood of what the Stargate did. For some reason, my young brain thought they were going back in time,
Oh,
like because they looked like they went back to Egyptian times. That's what it looked like.
ew,
Like so, I
yeah,
thought like they was like they were in Egypt and then they went back in time to Egypt, and it was just a portal of time. And then it happens they stopped aliens from invading the Earth. Like I just like somehow my brain at that
kind of
moment in
interesting
time.
movie there you're thinking about. You should have wrote this movie.
So I was like, oh, that's how they stopped aliens from invading our planet. Oh, okay.
Oh, the logic of youth. Now, I will say, this has got some great just scenes in it altogether. I love when he, James Spader. This is the same kind of thing that I liked about, like, Indiana Jones and even Jurassic Park with Grant. Is like when they mix the science into it, or
Hmm.
like mixed, like, showing them, like, do what they do as, like, these kinds of scientists. And James Spader, like, going and correcting their transcription of hieroglyphics,
Yeah.
and it's Richard Kind. He's like a character actor. He's like always like a put upon. He's the voice of Rex from Toy Story.
Okay.
He's like one of the guys, like the translator. He's like, "Oh, you're gonna improve on it." He's like, and James Spader's just like crossing stuff off in chalk and changing it.
Yeah, I
And then at
remember
the end, it's
this.
like, it's not a gate to heaven. It's actually Stargate. We're like, ooh, goosebumps. Yeah,
No,
great movie.
it's a great
Great
movie.
movie.
The design of like you know having the gods of Egypt look like be just aliens with like really cool like
Yep.
staffs and helmets, and it's such a cool visual to it. I am surprised that you with your love of this film that you don't want to give the show a chance, but because you get a lot of that stuff still when you watch it.
I wrote it off when it came out. I looked at it and I was like, no, thank you. I was like, this is too nerdy for me.
You watch
And,
Stargate.
and I,
I mean
and
Star
I,
Trek. I mean you watch Star Trek.
yes, of course. Star Trek is different.
Gave it a chance.
Wow.
It's good. I watched every episode. Wish I don't know why it died. It's very sad. They never made a sequel. Um, my favorite because really I
Yeah.
really couldn't figure out a good one in this one, but then I'm like it was on the list, so I'm gonna assume I'm gonna call this a movie because it was on the movie list, but it's not a movie. It was a mini series, and it was Stephen King's The Stand.
You bastard. I didn't even know it was. Oh, you.
Because I can't think of a better movie than that. That I mean it's long, so it's hard to watch again. But
Oh, that would be a tough choice for
I
me.
I definitely would watch the first half, at least the first half of The Stand. You know, it's so freaking good. We quote that movie all the time. Remember, we rented that because we both wanted to watch it. We got it from video to roll
Yep.
and two
Two
VHSs.
VHSs. That's good. 6
Oh,
hours in total. Yeah, we watched it was 6 episodes, right? We watched it, over 2 days
It
or
had to
over
be
3 days.
either 2 or 3. I feel
I
like
think
we
it
did 2
was
days. I feel like
maybe there were only 4 parts, but it was a 6-hour total.
yeah, yeah. I could see us doing
Oh my gosh.
2 times doing it, but that was an event. Like, I miss
Yeah.
I miss that movie. I wanna watch it again,
Well,
because, you
that's what
know
I miss about, like, the video stores and that kind of thing being like, "Hey, did you ever see that?" Like, "No, I've always wanted to." Like, "Let's see it." Like, when we those were carefree days, Justin.
well,
We could just do that.
you can still do that at the library.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
I rent things from the library all the time for movies.
I
Like,
do as well. I do as well. I don't usually look through the VHSs though, of
well, I mean, you could get there's a DVD version, I'm sure.
course.
But I was, like, looking at the list, like, yeah, there's a lot of fun movies this year. Like, I mean, Ace Ventura, I was a big fan of. Maverick, I thought was a fun movie. True Lies, I
The
mentioned.
Crow.
I mean, the only one that I was like having and hawing between was either this or Pulp Fiction. Like, I'll put Pulp Fiction. I mean, I've watched a lot of that movie.
It was 94?
Yeah.
Wow, I missed that one as well.
So I mean,
Uh,
I was between that or The Stand, but I look back at The Stand, I'm like, they pulled off this insane freaking story that Stephen King wrote and somehow made it with a mini series TV budget, mind you,
yep.
with a really kind of amazing cast, well casted people. Granted, you got some weird things with like Randall Flagg and all that stuff, but like,
But
but like,
they really, like, went for it. Like,
yeah,
they tried to bring that movie or that book to life, and I gotta say, I know that there was a Stan TV show not too long ago. Didn't do great. There was a Stan comic that, just basically goes through the movie. Didn't do great. Like, this still holds up. Like, the original miniseries, like, as an adaptation, holds up. And, just a little inside baseball, I just finished rereading this book, like, maybe 2 months ago. Like,
oh,
I
okay.
I
I've
decided I
never
was
read the book.
I wanna read this book. I will send you my copy. I got it for 50 cents at a yard sale.
You don't have to send it to
Like,
me, but okay.
it's so good, it's a big, it's like a Robert Jordan, it's big and thick and, hard to read at night and hard to hold, but, oh, it's so good. It's such a page turner, but
No, I when I saw that on the list, I'm like,
good.
I'm skirting the use of this favorite movie.
I bow to your superior choice. I like Stargate. There's a couple other great movies that came out this year. Leon the Professional, Ed Wood, Clerks came out this year,
I missed that.
Surviving the Game with Ice-T, Natural Born Killers is another one.
Mhm.
They're all, like, interesting movies. Interesting in the Star Trek Generations, which, is okay, I
I
guess.
saw that. I like Generations. I always like Generations.
I liked it. I like the soundtrack a lot too,
It was just
but
cool seeing the end of Kirk's story, I guess.
and it's just like he fell off like some scaffolding down a cliff. But it's like he died like he lived, you know?
Well, he was already dead, and of course, to most people, and he's just like, "Oh, he's not dead.
Oh,
Oh."
can't bring him back, it would be
Like,
weird.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad that Picard and Kirk got to meet. It's so neat.
Mhm. And I remember we talked about this because I said his name is Saren, like the,
Mass
Mass
Effect.
villain, played by Malcolm McDowell. He's not really a villain to me, he's just, like, somebody who wants to get back into the Nexus because it's great there,
Mhm,
and he can't help it, he wants to get back into the Nexus. Guinan's in the movie. It's a good movie.
mhm. Well, here's the
Alright,
hardest part of this show, Paul.
I know, the time has come, you gotta pick one. Just one.
So, out of all 5 years, the first half of 90s, the 1990s, what is your favorite film?
Oh, it's gonna have to be My Neighbor Totoro.
Okay.
I can't I can just put that movie on anytime. It's like that movie is therapeutic. That movie is just like calm and such a small scale story, low stakes, beautifully animated, excellent music, just like if you ever just want to relax, it's worth it to just put it on, just enjoy, the achievement in animation, as well as like really telling an interesting story about kids that kids will actually like. So there. What
I
about
mean,
you?
it's one of the better Miyazaki. Again, that's why this kind of retreading some old favorites we did.
Mhm.
Was that your favorite Miyazaki film?
Yeah,
Okay, I thought so.
came down to that, and I think yours was Princess Mononoke, I
No,
believe.
how it was Castle in the Sky.
Oh, Laputa. Right.
We mentioned Kiki on that show though. Kiki was brought up on that. I
Gosh.
love Castle in the Sky.
We should do an episode someday on like Porco Rosso or something like
Never
that.
watched
That's
that
a
one yet. I gotta watch that one.
fun, dude.
Yeah,
You
I
gotta
gotta
watch
watch
that.
it. I gotta watch it. So my favorite, and
Yes,
this is
please.
tough. This is hard. This is
Yeah,
very
man.
hard. And I'm
I don't
sitting
know where
there.
you're going with this too. I've like made notes of what you've been rating. I don't know.
It's been hard to pick like a solid answer, and I'm sitting here. I'm looking at all these, and I'm like, what represents my this part of the '90s for me? And I'm like thinking, like I keep like going back to the same movie. I'm like, that's it. I can't think of any one. But it doesn't seem right. But it's it. It's got to be Hook. Like that's my favorite movie out of all the. Like I can't think of a better
Really?
representation. Like that, like has Robin Williams, which is like kind of like this like moment in time, this big Robin
Yep.
Williams thing.
Early '90s Robin
It,
Williams.
it, it kind of speaks to my nostalgia, my childhood. It was a surprising film. Like I would say, like you think like maybe Terminator 2 or Jurassic Park, but I didn't really pick those as my favorite movies out of this time frame. And I'm looking at all these like favorites from every year, and I'm like, Hook. I think I sit
Better.
there and I'm like, wow, that was a freaking awesome movie.
Yep. Yep. It's so different, there was no movie like that. And really there hasn't been many that have like tried to do that.
they've
Like
done
take
Pe-
Peter
they've
Pan
just done
very seriously,
yeah, they've done Peter Pan movies, but like it's a
Sure.
retelling of the story of Peter Pan. But like it's not
Like this. This was
yeah,
a risk, It was interesting.
yeah.
Dustin Hoffman as Hook and what's his name? Um oh, Bob Hoskins as Smee.
Oh, perfect,
He's
right?
great.
Yeah, they wasted him in Super Mario Brothers. I have to say,
Yeah. And even John Leguizamo, like, nobody should have been in that movie. It shouldn't have happened.
even like Dust. What was that? What was the bad guy who played Bowser? It was
Oh, Dennis Hopper
that's
with
yeah.
blonde cornrows, like, so fucking weird.
And then just Rufio alone in Hook though is like
Ruby.
such a great who ends up voice acting like a lot of my favorite like characters and like cartoons and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So like
Who did you voice it?
Last Airbender, for example, he was I don't think you've watched that show.
I know who the characters are.
He's Zuko. He's like the Fire Lord's
Okay.
son. So he voices him. He's been in other stuff too. I always forget what he's in, but he's done like random things. Like you're like, oh,
Rufio.
that's the guy. That's Rufio.
You don't call him by his name. That's
Yeah,
how
I
memorable
don't know the
character.
actor's name. I don't remember. Let's see
I
the
love that part in the movie too when he's, like, in the very beginning when, Robin Williams is like, "Alright, where's an adult?" And he's, like, walking around doing the, like, to the Lost Boys, doing this, like, little finger whatever this is.
the little like I don't know what that is. Like what do you call that? But this scene
Like,
is so
drumming his fingers almost in the air, just like,
my favorite scene in
"Ryan,
Hook.
you know what we're doing."
It's got to be when they have the dinner. And they have to imagine
Oh,
their
of
food.
course.
Yeah,
That is,
it's
like, the best scene.
so freaking good. So the actor's name is Dante. He's got a cool name, Dante Bosco. His name's
Ooh.
Dante Bosco, and I swear I'm just gonna fact check myself before we end this episode because I swear he does a lot of voice acting. So he was in
Okay,
Hook, huh?
let's hear what Rufio is doing.
So yeah, I was right about Last Airbender. He was in some random things I've never heard of. Um, he was in something else. He was in Legend of Korra. He was also the American Dragon cartoon. He did voice acting in that too, I guess.
Oh, and the Jackie Chan?
Yeah, Jackie Chan. He's done some voice acting in like some DC movies. He was in the Goofy movie. Not seeing really anything else. He was in Lilo. He was in Lilo Stitch's cartoon. He did some stuff in Star Wars Rebels. Maybe that's where I was thinking.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. He just kind of like jumps around random things. Let's put it that way, I guess. I just knew him as Zuko though. That's like I remember like, oh, that's Rufio. That's the guy from that movie I like. But no, Hook was great. Go watch it. Watch it right now. And then go watch The Stand.
Nice.
That's probably my runner-up. To be quite honest.
It's a good one. Can't deny it. I think looking back over this list, I probably go back and watch. You could definitely watch Groundhog Day anytime, but I feel like I want to watch Stargate again and Boys in the Hood. But all right, Justin, this has been fun.
Yeah.
Next time we'll be talking about our favorite 90s movies part 2. We're going to cover years 95 through 99, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. So we'll finish out the 90s. Oh, I just can't wait till we get to 1999 where everything will have 2000 after it. Because it all came out like in 1999. It didn't wait until 2000.
Well, it's like
Blues Brothers,
Cars. You know,
2000.
it's like Cars. You release that the next year
Sure.
before the
Yep.
year, right?
Next year's model.
Yeah.
You got it.
So, well, again,
All right.
if you like this episode, let us know what your favorite 1990 movie part 1 is in the comments. Check our Twitter account, like, subscribe, click the bell, all that stuff. Paul's been randomly streaming here and there. I'm going to be streaming again soon, but this has been Playing Favorites. I'm Justin.
I'm Paul.
Have a good night.